Hi, I'm Magic Johnson, and it's Super Bowl week where dreams come true for NFL players. And today we're about to change the lives of some incredible minority and women-owned entrepreneurs. We'll see who can win over our judges and earn $50,000. The NFLPA Virtual Pitch Day is coming up next, powered by Panini. Welcome to the 5th annual NFLPA Pitch Day. This event will provide entrepreneurs and companies in their early stages with a platform to present their businesses to an elite judging panel. 6 minority and women-led businesses will compete for access to funding, mentorship, and NFLPA assets. As an investor myself and business owner, I understand how an event like this can change the future of these early stage companies, and I'm excited to meet all of them today. During the show, you'll see presentations from all 6 companies, and they will be grilled by our panel of all-star judges. So you ask, what's at stake today? At the end of the event, one overall winner will be chosen to win $50,000. There are powerful and successful outcomes by partnering with the NFLPA, NFL players, and One Team partners. By supporting events like Pitch Day, our partners in this event are also supporting the mission to drive innovation, diversity, and inclusion.
All right, thank you, Magic. We'll be right back to you in a moment. Just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Michael Smith. I have the honor of hosting or moderating as best I can, which will be a fantastic conversation between DeMaurice Smith and Magic Johnson on how athletes can be leaders in the business world. I'm not an athlete, but I got my pen and paper out because I know they're going to be dropping some gems. As an aspiring entrepreneur, I am ready to take notes myself. So Executive Director of the NFLPA, DeMaurice Smith, Magic Johnson, who needs no introduction. I just want to welcome you guys to this conversation, but let's start with the ED himself, DeMaurice Smith. D, tell us the importance of Pitch Day, of this Pitch Day theme to the NFL Players Association and the business and investment communities.
Well, first, let me say thanks. It's an honor to be in such great company, and certainly an honor to have Magic be a major part of our NFL Pitch Day. We started this a few years ago with basically a simple understanding about the world and where it was trending, that there was an incredible opportunity to take advantage of the intersection between athletes and business. We probably have the best example of someone who has done that both during his career as a player and his career as an entrepreneur. And having the NFL Pitch Day not only focus on the love that people certainly have for our sport, but we believe that the athletes are the drivers of the success of the National Football League. And we certainly believe that harnessing and developing that talent as a boost for any business who wants to take themselves to the next level. That's what NFLPA Pitch Day has been all about. And to have it framed by probably the greatest athlete to ever take advantage of his amazing talent on the field, but a person who's really transcended business by what he's done off the field. It's great to have Magic Johnson as a part of this.
Yeah, Magic. I mean, hearing D put in those words, it's the truth. For all you did on the court, you're the greatest off the court as well. I mean, nobody's done it quite like you, both as a player and even post-career. So what does it mean to you to be able to help share this knowledge with fellow athletes, but also fellow athletes in another arena, but nonetheless, you guys have that same connection and that aspiration to transcend your sports in particular?
Well, first, Michael, thank you for hosting this, and good to see you. And then D, of course, D is so busy right now, especially, you know, with the Super Bowl and also handling all the players. So I want to thank him for his time, but also having this pitch day. D is really not only doing an outstanding job for the players, but this is where we have to take the players, right? To making sure that they excel on the field, and they're going to take care of that. They've always taken care of that, but now they can also excel off the field, right? Take advantage of their platform. And what I try to do is just take advantage of my platform, get out and meet people, shake their hands, make sure that I pick their brains. Athletes, if you can remember, Michael, every single play, defense and on offense, also every assignment that you have, not only your assignment, but also all the other players' assignment that you work for, then you can, and work with, you can actually become a businessman, because you know you have applied yourself, you have the discipline, you have the will, you made the sacrifices, you are a focused athlete. So the same principles really apply to you becoming a businessman. Now, what you have to understand is this: nobody cares that you were successful on the field or on the basketball court. So you have to really prove yourself all over again in the business arena. Now, that success that you had on the field or on the basketball court can get you the meeting. Now you have to do the rest, right? And we've had, not just myself, there's former NFL players who are very successful in business. There's former NBA players who are very successful in business. So my thing was, I've had two dreams. I always wanted to become a businessman. I always wanted to become an NBA player. So I made sure that I was able to connect myself with the right people. And then I identified what I wanted to get into. And the most important thing, as Dee will tell you, I saved my money, right? So I made sure that, you know, I was prepared financially. So when opportunities, Michael, came my way, I was ready to acquire a business, buy a business, start a business. And then also the tools are are really important. Make sure you're working with the right people, that you got the right team in place, because that's very important. A lot of times it's not about your buddies, it's not about your family. You got to get the right team in place to help you go to the next level, which is very, very important. And then last but not least, don't be mad or don't get upset when somebody tell you the truth, right? And what I mean by that is, we all gonna high five you, we all gonna love you when you out there, me throwing no look passes and doing what I did. But when I came into the business arena, my ego had to, I had to leave it at the door, because people are gonna say, hey, we don't care about that. What we care about now, can you drive ROI? Can you return on investment? Can you make us money? Can you be on time? Can you, when you make this commitment, will you follow through? It's those type of things that are very, very important. And so I'm just blessed. I had the right team in place. I listened. Wait a minute, I'm gonna say that one more time. I listened. And then last but not least, I wrote everything down that I wanted to accomplish. I challenged myself, Michael and Dee, and I took one thing at a time. And so very, very important.
That was a lot right there. That was a master class in and of itself. I want to focus on the proving yourself part, because you took the words right out of my mouth. Is the idea of hearing no. You at the highest level with the Lakers, a lot of the athletes that are going to be watching this have achieved success at the highest level. The less than a 1% to make it to the level that these individuals have, and yet having to prove yourself in another arena. A, how did you go about proving yourself? And B, just kind of what you spoke to a second ago, how did you handle hearing no? Because that's a big part of being in business, is hearing no, hearing rejection.
Well, first of all, you know, I want them to write this down. Be prepared. Okay. If you're prepared going into a meeting, then, you know, you're going to do very well, in my opinion, because you're competitive. You want to win. So these players are competitive. They want to win, but they have to be prepared. Just like they were prepared every Sunday and every Monday and every Thursday, it's the same preparation in business, right? And then again, don't know what you know and know what you don't know. So that's when you pick people's brain to say, hey, I don't know business. Be honest with yourself. I went and said, hey, I don't know business. Would you teach me business? So I got with people like D, so we had a players association in the NBA. So I picked Charlie Grantham. He was running the players association at that time in the NBA. Then he introduced me to other people. And then I went out and met successful people. And I know we're going to get to this, but I got to bring it up right now. Mentors really helped me out. Don't be afraid, whether they're in the town that you play in or the town that you grew up in or the college that you played at. Get you some mentors to help you along your journey. And then we got to come to a point, Michael. This is very important, man. What do you want your next 10 years and 15 years to look like, right? What do you want your brand to stand for? Away from now football, away from now basketball. See, now you got to take into account this. You got a football brand, but now you have to have a different brand. So what do you want that to look like? And for me, it's about accountability. It's about excellence. It's about best in class. So I wanted my brand to stand for those things. And last but not least, I wanted my brand to stand for the community and helping the community. And I've always given back. So these young men have a chance to be very successful in another arena. They just got to get all the tools. And it's almost like going back to school, right? You just got to get the information to help you get started. And once you get started, they have the will, they're competitive, they will win. On the flip side of that, make sure this man right here, D, can help them get started.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't go to the Players Association. You got to go to them. They will open the doors. They already have avenues and companies that they work with that they can introduce you to. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of D's expertise and his connection.
D, how do you go about doing that? Tell us how you go about connecting your members, other athletes with business opportunities, or even mentoring like Magic just talked about?
Yeah, I don't know if I can give any more advice than what Magic has given, because he hit on a couple of things that are pivotal, and I want to just foot stomp those. Don't get your feelings hurt when people tell you the truth. It is one of those things that I think every athlete has to learn who's been successful their whole life, all the way up to excelling in professional sports. There is this thought that because I've been successful there, I know everything I need to know. Find people who will tell you the truth, and it's okay to get your feelings hurt. I mean, let's be brutally real. The players have no problem hurting my feelings. It's fine. That's the way it should be. But it's all about making yourself better by hearing some people tell you the truth. How we do it, we've been fortunate. I've been fortunate. We've had a Players Inc. where we've maximized the revenue of our players' group licensing rights now for almost 30 years. That's something that we take a tremendous amount of pride in. So our guys come into football knowing that there is a very successful business that has maximized revenue off of their name, image, and likeness. So I think, what Magic said, again, rings true, understanding that you do have a value. Second, you have to partner with people who are, how do I say this delicately, outside of our sport, right? I mean, sport can be such an enabling, all-consuming thing. And our players come into this business at an extremely young age, and they've been surrounded by people in the culture of sport. I'm thrilled that when they come to Players Inc., they see board members like Jenny Abramson. She runs the largest venture capital firm with a gender focus. So when they come into Players Inc., they're getting the advice of people who have been successful outside of business, outside of sport, outside of basketball, outside of football, and people who are just brutally honest about the world of business. And if our guys are prepared for it, the last thing that Magic talked about, prepared for it, they're able to jumpstart themselves because, again, let's be blunt, their careers have given them the opportunity so that someone is going to return their phone call. They're going to get the meeting. They're going to get the thing that is hardest for most people outside of sport to get. They're going to get their phone call returned. They're probably going to get a meeting. They're probably going to get a lunch. But what they need to prepare for is what happens after that. And for us, again, I'm thrilled about the history that we've had of creating and building businesses. Pitch Day has been a major part of that. The NFL One Team Collective has been a part of that. We built our own venture capital company now with Redbird and One Team, and we have 5 great businesses under that umbrella of football players, baseball players, the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team, U.S. Rugby, and MLS, and we're talking to the other sports now. But the goal has to be prepared, honest, and to take advantage of everything that your sport has given you to get you in the position to win.
Man, this is so good. I mean, what I'm picking up, and I hope the players are as well, the athletes are as well, is like the same stuff that got you here, the same work ethic, the same commitment, the same drive, the same coachability, the same humility. I mean, the biggest star in NBA history, Magic Johnson, is like, I'm humbling myself to be able to get my feelings hurt. This is so rich. Magic, I'd love if you could tell us some more about what you've done recently when it comes to minority and women-owned entrepreneurs, and your thoughts on how others can help support and open doors for these businesses.
Well, Michael, God put me in this great position to really, I own a company, insurance company called Equitrust. And what happened was the PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program, did not trickle down to the Black and brown community, for Blacks and Latinos, small business owners. And for whatever reason, whether we didn't have a relationship with the banks and credit unions who were dispersing the money, whether they denied us because we didn't have enough employees, which is really stupid in my opinion. And we lost 700,000 Black small businesses, right? And so when I read the number and it was going to increase, I said, I got to do something about it. So my company, we put up $325 million. We've saved over 15,000 minority businesses and women-owned businesses. And we will continue to do that. But what I'm really proud of is the fact that these are companies that's been entrenched in our community, in the Black community, for many, many years, provided necessary services and provide products and goods to our community and to the people who live in the inner cities. And this is very important, whether that was dental services, whether that they had a custodial business, whether they had their own doctor's office, on and on and on. But what I'm really proud of is one business in New York we saved, and in Brooklyn, and they own some pizzerias. And so we were able to have them keep their doors open, save their employees. But after we saved them, Michael, they won a contract with the city, over $1 million contract. So not only did we save their business, but they were able to grow their business, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about. So that's the reason why people should invest or put up money to help these small businesses thrive. Plus, that means that more Latinos, more Blacks or African Americans are working. See, the pandemic hurt us in a lot of different ways. What? Now, unemployment in the Black community is higher now, right? Also, too, the pandemic, who was #1 in deaths from the pandemic was the Black community, Latino community. So again, I do all I can to make life better in the Black community, not just with the $325 million that we put up, but providing job opportunities. Also, making sure we send our kids to college too, and working with historical Black colleges. So D touched on a lot of great things. So I want to just add one thing, Michael, real quick.
Yeah.
If D is doing all these things within the Players Association, you players out there, go and meet with the people who he talked about. Those people will help you get started. The woman that D mentioned, man, if she has this big fund, go meet with her. Go get in front of her. What did I do? I met with Dr. Jerry Buss when it wasn't sexy or fashionable for a player to have a relationship with an owner. I didn't care what them players said. I wanted to have a business one day, right? So I sat down and said, Dr. Buss, can you become my first mentor? And he did that. And the second thing that I did, that all the players can do this too, I called Dr. Buss and said, will you give me the CEOs who have season tickets, their phone number, so I could cold call these CEOs who have season tickets to the Lakers, and I'm gonna take them to lunch. Michael, I took 50 CEOs to lunch. How many of you think said no?
Exactly. And they buying.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they got an expense account, bro. So you don't have to worry about paying, but they want to be in your company. So to Dee's point, I picked their brains. 6 of them became my mentors. Right now, I'm still in business with 3 of them, and I'm owning 6 and 7 businesses with 3 of them right now. So that's why you want to do it. And last but not least, when you make a meeting with these businessmen, be on time, an hour early. Pick their brain, ask every question, get them written down, so you will come in prepared for what you want to ask them. Don't get me going, Michael. I can be on this subject all day, man.
I think the moral of the story is there's playing the game and then there's playing the game. Okay,
That's right.
You're putting us up on game right now, D. With the last word, because we got a break after this. You can take us where you want, but I just want to tee you up on just this one thing. If you would, just to Magic's point about the damage of the pandemic, you and your union did a masterful job of navigating incredible amounts of both economic and social, not to mention health uncertainty throughout the pandemic. What wisdom or advice would you impart to businesses based on your experience navigating this time?
Yeah, great question.
And then take it wherever you want to go to close out.
Yeah, look, I think the best lesson for businesses, and this is looking at this arc over the last, let's just say 10 years, where we have struggled and succeeded with delivering strong social justice messages by athletes on the field and on the court and off the court. Here's what I found. The businesses who really cared about having an authentic voice were the ones that not only successfully partnered with athletes on and off the field, but look at those companies now. They came out of that successful, authentic partnership in a better state than where they were before. I'm not going to mention any names, but at a time when we were worried in football about whether we were going to keep a pizza sponsor, I think what you found was the NFL finally making the right decision of letting the players be authentic, give them a voice, support their voice instead of trying to suppress their voice. And then what did we find? Nike, Coke, Pepsi, all of these companies who understood that they needed to be on not only the right side of history, but to Magic's point, the right side of business.
Yep.
They found out that if they embraced the authentic voice of the athlete, you could both be on the right side of history and the right side of business. So the last word that I would have is we're proud of our men. I think that I have always probably ruffled a few feathers by telling our men that I want them to be good businessmen and good men in the business of football. And I think that's what you heard from Magic. The skill, the talent, the things that you can do on the court, we dig it, we love it. But guess what? If you weren't the best, you wouldn't be on the court or you wouldn't be on the field anyway. The next chapter of your life is going to be longer than the time that you played a sport. And we want everybody to be prepared for that transition. And I know that a lot of sports networks and everything talk a lot about the salary cap, talk a lot about the business of football. I'd love it if our guys focused less on the cap and more about how they are setting themselves up for the balance of their lives, being a successful business person after their sport is done.
Fascinating, powerful stuff. Magic Johnson and others who've been successful, you worked at it. It's really that simple. You worked at it. You work the rooms, you work your connections, you work the platforms. This has been great. I never played in the league, obviously, but I got a lot out of this. I hope our audience did as well. DeMaurice Smith, thank you so much. Magic, you stick around because, of course, we'll be hearing a lot more from you later. It's time for the Pitch Day Competition portion of the show. And for that, let's turn it over to our MC. He is the CEO. He's a founder and the CEO of Hustle Clean. And you know him as a retired NFL running back. His name is Justin Forsett. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Magic. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, D. Michael, thanks.
This was so fun. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael, Magic, and D. Hi, everyone. I'm Justin Forsett, former NFL running back and an entrepreneur myself. I'll be your MC for today's NFLPA Virtual Pitch Day presented by Panini, as we meet and support some incredible minority and female-owned businesses. The NFLPA has identified 6 unique companies whose founders are ready to share their stories and their company pitches. Each company will also have a chance to answer questions from our panel of judges who have a scorecard to help decide a winner. In the end, after each company makes its case, our judges will decide who wins $50,000 from the NFLPA and one team partners. The winner will also receive marketing services from Allied Sports and Microsoft services. Microsoft will also provide Surface devices to all competitors. New this year, judges will also offer special one-on-ones after the event. Each judge will give one company of their choice the opportunity for an exclusive 1-hour session to ask questions and gain insight. Let's meet our judges. 2016 WNBA MVP and president of the WNBA Players Association, Nneka Ogwumike. WNBA veteran and member of the League Social Justice Council, Sydney Colson. Entrepreneur and retired NFL Pro Bowler, Brian Arakpo. Investor in multiple companies, No Sweat and Game Breaker, and Pro Bowl receiver and Super Bowl champion, Golden Tate. So let's get this competition started. Meet Jasmine and hear her pitch.
I'm Jasmine Maeda, CEO and founder of Round 21. Round 21 brings art to things we love in life. Round 21 came about over the course of my 20-year experience working in sports, gaming, and tech. I was a professional basketball player, turned marketer for brands like Reebok and Under Armour, and most recently Peloton, and I continued to see people self-expressing who they are, their identity, in things in their life. It was the things that they had the most passion for. Having been a professional athlete, surrounded by sports locker room culture my entire career, I want to take this opportunity to bring the things we play with to life and provide identity and a sense of meaning to the player. The ping pong paddles Round 21 started with was just our first canvas. We've quickly moved into basketball and are building other sports and products. I wanted our origin story to be rooted in a highly inclusive experience, and ping pong is a cultural glue. It brings people together. I know a lot of teams in the NFL and the NBA and in golf have ping pong tables because it's a way for teammates to play on an even playing field regardless of skill or size. The NBA contacted us in July to commission paddles for the bubble. We got paddles in hand in August. Anthony Davis got paddles for the Lakers. The Detroit Pistons got paddles for the team. So I'm really excited about this idea of ping pong being part of a team's culture, now representing the team's beliefs and values. We are going to be unapologetic on how and who we partner with from an artist community, and it's going to be a multicultural, multiracial, multi-socioeconomic background of artists designing for today's Gen Z consumer. Now that you've seen where Round 21 came from, let's talk about where it's going. One of the things we know about art is that it's a vibrant part of our everyday culture. But today's generation is taking art from the museum and putting it into their life. Self-expression hit a fever pitch in 2020, and consumers are now making art part of their interactivity in their world every single day. And that's why I'm building Round 21, a brand for the multicultural, multi-generational group of consumers who are rich in creative currency. And sport is our first canvas. The big players in sports equipment have been focused on function for over 50 years and have missed the cultural relevance that consumers today care about. If Round 21 achieves our goals and only captures 1% of this opportunity, it will result in $280 million. And our future vision expands even beyond sports. And there are companies like Minted and Art.com that are validating this opportunity. However, they don't currently connect with the vibrant, younger, and multicultural self-expressive generation that Round 21 is designing for. Our business model today is scalable and flexible to drive growth, even though we're starting in sports. Very simply, we monetize Round 21 in two ways. We sell our products by building a platform for artists to design products with us. And then they also can provide products on Round 21's platform where we get a royalty of each sale. We run limited edition drops, plus have seasonal and permanent collections, and are piloting a membership program around gifting. And our direct to community strategy leverages our own e-com channel, but also leverages existing distribution where artisanal and design-led products are sold. Not to mention the opportunity for B2B when restaurants, universities, and the new way of working opens back up post-COVID. After our successful Kickstarter, we've now secured the NBA license for 2021 and beyond, and recently have been commissioned by the largest photo museum in the world because they want Round 21 to extend their exhibitions in the spring, which is an exciting validation point around the cultural capital of what Round 21 is building. The momentum of Round 21 is really driven by the team. In addition to me being focused full-time, Joe Sargent, recently from the Kansas City Chiefs, has joined on as head of marketing. He also has worked for brands like Effin Vodka and Wilson, so he understands business development and sport and consumer relevance, as well as Jerry who has spent 25 years working on the supply chain for manufacturers such as Reebok and Spalding, who's bringing product innovation for Round 21's expansion and growth. The fundraise we currently have is already supported by investors who have incredible reputations and experience. And the use of funds as a part of this raise are going towards marketing and product development and inventory, as well as securing artists who have disproportionate impact on where Round 21 is going. We're excited about Round 21's potential and the opportunity for the NFLPA to support the idea and ideals behind what you play with to say something about who you are. Thank you.
Now let's bring in our judges for some questions for Round 21.
Jasmine, that was great. I love artistic expression. Tell me, what do you think differentiates Round 21 from its competitors?
Well, I would say we're a category creator. You know, people have been playing basketball or football or baseball for so long, but the way they've experienced their sport has been through function, and we're bringing a sense of self-expression to this new canvas for the first time. So I feel like it's a whole new category. I hope that consumers, enjoy having a sense of identity with what they play with, but I don't think there's anything quite like what we're building yet.
Thank you.
Jasmine, thank you so much for your pitch. I actually have one of your paddles you all sent me a while back ago, and I can honestly say I don't think I've lost with it. And as you know, I'm a huge ping pong player. In fact, I used to beat up on Forrest Gump back in the day. But how do you plan to leverage your previous executive experience to open up the future opportunities for Round 21?
Well, I'm bringing a lot from Under Armour and Peloton in particular. When I think about Peloton's growth, it's been incredible, but it took a very vibrant, rabid community to first set a tone of what this product meant to their lives. And then from there, the community advocacy grew. So for Round 21, we're taking advantage of building cultural capital with people like you, people in the world of sport, people in the world of art, because we know how important it is to bring meaning to what we're providing consumers. And that meaning comes through building a voice in the marketplace from people of influence. And from there, the products that we bring to life need to have relevance. So for example, when the Beyonce ride hit Peloton, you know, so many people that had never even heard of Peloton or considered it love Beyonce, so they wanted to try it out. And so for round 21, we're going to leverage cultural moments, artistic themes, and bring symbolism to something that is already interesting to a wide group of people. And that will be a way for us to scale in the future, because people will want to participate in what we're bringing to life through art and have a reason to participate now through play.
Thanks, Jasmine. I really appreciated the presentation. I love the intersectionality between, you know, what you're saying, art and culture and society. And of course, I'm a part of a league now that is very much embedded in social change and culture. I wanted to know a little bit more about maybe how you feel as though that intersectionality of sports and culture can also be engaged with in women's sports, because many of the examples that I saw were mostly men's sports. And so I just kind of want to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I played professional basketball before starting my career, so this is really important to me too. And we don't see men's and women's, we see platforms. And so whether it's basketball or ping pong, those are made for anybody who wants to play, no matter how you identify yourself. We think about our consumer and our community through the lens of the multi-hyphenate, that you can be a mom and a basketball player and a chef and you know, artist. And so we're going to be imaging that as a brand, and we already have. We're also going to be partnering with artists who pull from all different backgrounds. And so we believe that intersectionality is really important. I'm just about to start prototyping soccer balls. We already have a basketball underway, and we're working on men's and women's silhouettes. So we want to make sure that we're for everyone and really live up to our high value system around being inclusive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jasmine, love your presentation as well. I thought it was awesome. Talked about being a Sooner. I'll bless your heart for that one. But anyway, my question is more on the business side. As far as mass production, you know, art is a more of a personal belief, I believe, and it comes with a lot of experiences in life. How would you get your inner city, just your normal day, everyday person, to be engaged with your product?
That's a great question. So we're building permanent collections of products that speak to very important, broad-reaching concepts. So for example, unity or equality, or even just a sense of playfulness, which came through one of our recent products called the Miami Vibes product, which has a flamingo as an icon. That will be available for people on an evergreen basis, but then we want to make sure that we have moments where we're driving disproportionate impact in the marketplace around cultural themes. And so this is where we would take advantage of opportunities to serve, whether it's inner city platforms that are developing teaching life skills to kids through sports. We would want to be participating in that and giving a voice to those, to that community. Or, for example, we just got the NBA license. You know, we're not jumping the gun and just trying to go out there and do that. To Nneka's earlier point, how do we bring the idea of basketball as a platform to life, leverage the NBA license, discuss it with the WNBA, and really maximize the voice that we can have in the marketplace around identity and basketball as a sport? So we have a very scalable and flexible model where we can generate an evergreen collection for sale, but also big ideas around social justice and cultural movements in key moments during the year to maximize that opportunity as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jasmine. I really appreciate your answers to the questions and of course your presentation. And I would like to offer future consultation one-on-one with you in the future if you would welcome me to do that.
I would welcome you with two wide open arms. You're an amazing icon and leader in what you're doing across every platform that you play. And that's really generous of you, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Jasmine, I would also like to offer consultation as well. Like I said, I'm a huge ping pong player. I have some really big ideas, I think, to bring artists and ping pong all in the one room. I think it'd be cool. So I'd love to chat with you further as well.
Golden, that is amazing, particularly in the market that you're in. Who knows what we can do together? That is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jasmine, and our judges. We'll see if round 21 is the big winner later in the program. Right now, let's meet our second company with two entrepreneurs focused on nutrition.
My name is Claude Tellis. My name is Kareem Cook, and we are the owners of NatureAid. NatureAid's vision and mission is to reverse prediabetes, and that's a condition that affects 86 million Americans, many of whom are people of color. And we do that by selling weight loss shakes, meal replacements, and gut health products. When we first moved out to California, we decided that we wanted to do something about child obesity as well as the diabetes epidemic. The first thing we did was we launched a healthy vending machine company out here from scratch. We were responsible for replacing the junk food from all the public high schools and middle schools in Los Angeles and actually getting the law changed. We really learned that if we just help people lose about 10% of their weight, they'd have a 60% less chance of getting diabetes. We want to challenge everyone out there to lose 400 million pounds, and we want our product to be front and center in creating that narrative. I see NatureAid being a dominant force in focusing on weight loss in urban communities. We're the first Black-owned company in this space to actually get distribution in Costco, right? That's sort of the holy grail for CPG companies, and we're going into Whole Foods. And so these are enormous opportunities that a company like ours generally doesn't have access to. We always had a vision and mission around reversing prediabetes. You look at the mortality rates in the African American, Latino communities, it's 3 or 4 times that of the general community. And so COVID has really made our work more and more urgent.
First of all, thank you for having us today. We're excited to tell you about our company. In the words of Tupac Shakur, let's change the way we eat, let's change the way we live, and let's change the way we treat each other. That's our vision and mission here at NatureAid, because we believe that there are 86 million people who suffer from prediabetes, a condition we think is completely reversible through a plant-based, clean diet that focuses on losing weight and taking in fewer sugar calories. And so in our vision and mission and in our journey, we're blessed to meet with Magic Johnson, who we believe has been a sterling example of bringing urban America and corporate America together. And so we're excited to partner with Magic in our launch in Costco, Target, and as well as our ongoing growth on Amazon and Whole Foods. We look at our company as the next Vega or the next Beyond Meat, which we know that a lot of you are familiar with. Right now, what's happened is people have become aware that we need to change our diets in order to live longer lives. And what's happened is the general population has really gone to understanding this. And so a lot of people in the NFL, for instance, have invested in Beyond Meat and have done really well. Vega has decided to make it more cool to be healthy and plant-based. And we think that we're coming right behind them, and we'll be the next company that'll be able to grow as quickly as they've grown and sell at the multiples they've sold at. We believe that our company will be able to grow from 10 million to 100 million off our existing distribution with Costco and Amazon, and then from 100 million to 200 million with Magic Johnson's partnership, and ultimately be able to sell our company to either Abbott Labs or Glanbia, major health companies and food companies who really, really need to take products like ours and make them available globally. So thank you for listening for us today. We do need your $50,000. And the way that we're going to use it is to focus on our pilot program within Costco and try to deliver over $1,000 a week in each Costco in our pilot program. Thanks, Claude and Kareem. Now let's meet our judges for some questions.
Hey guys, awesome presentation. I loved it, and I'm a big advocate, especially of Black-owned business, definitely. First off, I want to say just, I'm all about business. Everybody has a great concept, but I'm all about business. If have a product in a big major retail store and I'm a normal consumer, what will separate NatureAid from everybody else? Because there's tons and millions of different products out there, people just grab and go. What will make me just go to the section, purchase Nature and be blessed to have that upon my shelves.
Well, I'll first take that. Thanks. First of all, thanks for having us and thanks for your question. The answer is that our main product is Nature plant-based weight loss shake. It tastes good, it's clean, has low sugar, and it's sold both in Costco, Target, will be in Whole Foods soon. And so Costco in particular, there's only really 3 competitors with us in Costco in that segment. So you're walking through, if you're one of the 100 million members in Costco, you really only have a few choices. But in terms of the general consumer, I think it's the taste. Whether you're a plant-based enthusiast who's already looking for clean products and you're in that lifestyle, or you're our consumer that we're looking to the future, which is the pre-diabetic person that needs to lose weight and is just being introduced to eating healthier, you're going to find that we taste good, and that's why people like us.
Perfect.
Thank you for your presentation. I too kind of am piggybacking a little bit off of Brian's question. So, we understand that your mission is differentiated and that you want to, obviously overcome pre-diabetes. So if that is the mission, I guess what I'm asking is, what is the market strategy behind that? For me, I always love a Black-owned business, and I'm the type of person that I research and I try and see what products in the store are Black-owned before I reach out for whatever is just easy to grab. But what marketing strategy are you using for someone who doesn't do that?
So I would say that what we're doing differently is that we're actually going where they aren't, right? And so our competitors, for instance, go to these conferences and trade shows where there might be 90,000 people that's diverse communities. And you might find like 12, 13, 14 companies that sell protein products. We'll go to Essence Festival, where there's 550 women of color who fit exactly in this demographic. And we're the only company there talking to the individuals, educating and selling a product that's actually fixing a problem that disproportionately hits our community. And so we're actually talking to the consumers who need it the most, as opposed to other companies that are just kind of putting their products out there.
And I'll also piggyback on that and say that our merchandising strategy is very coherent relative to your question. So for example, Amazon, we're up 100% on Amazon during COVID. And there's a strategy that we're executing called DSP, which is when consumers come to your website or when you come to your buy box on Amazon and don't purchase, you go back and get them, right? So that's kind of first in terms of like people who don't have Whole Foods in their communities, maybe people of color, maybe people who are lower income, maybe people who aren't used to these products. Amazon is really key to our strategy, because of how we advertise on Amazon using DSP and other types of things, but also because with Essence Festival, with some relationships we're working on with Radio One, we're trying to send consumers directly to our buy box. And so meeting with influencers like yourselves who have a platform in places where we're trying to be big, our goal is to bring people to our buy box on Amazon and deliver.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, presentation, y'all. Can you also speak to your investor network and how you specifically look to scale into additional retailers and the boutique healthcare stores?
Okay. In terms of investors, can you say more specifically what you mean there?
Well, just ignore that part. How do you plan to get into the smaller boutiques? I know you guys said you go to the festivals and that you're in Costco and a few other places, but the smaller mom and pop stores, I guess, how do you plan to get into those?
Well, first of all, let me say this: we're doing $10 million in sales currently, and that's dominantly on an e-commerce and natural channel strategy. That's dominantly a natural channel and e-commerce strategy. So when we ship to natural distributors, that goes to your small mom and pops. So that's really kind of the answer there. But more importantly, there's a big opportunity just on Amazon and Costco. We believe that's $100 million of potential business in our sector. The average SKU on Costco does $50 million per SKU per year. We're the first African-American product in our category in Costco.
And we believe we're one of the few Black-owned companies ever to get into Costco. So our conversation has started with the CEO of Costco directly to make that a reality. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, I have a ton of questions I would like to ask, but I think I'll just say that I would love to offer my one-on-one consultation services and get a chance to speak with you all at a later date. But I really love what you said about your product and your plans for the future, and so hopefully we can get that going soon.
We love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Stick around to see if NatureAid will be our winner. On to our next startup, a female-owned media company, Just Women's Sports.
Hi, I'm Haley Rosen, CEO and founder of Just Women's Sports. We are a media platform dedicated to women's sports. I played soccer in college, and then I played professionally for a little bit in the US and abroad. Every team I was a part of, we were selling out stadiums, attendance was up, viewership was up. There was just a ton of positive momentum in this space. I had a bunch of injuries and had to retire sooner than I would have liked. It was the first time I ever felt that lack of sports coverage. I'd always been inside the world. I always knew the athletes, and I knew what was going on. I knew who was at the top of the table, or the trades, or who was overperforming or underperforming. And it was the first time I was on the outside looking in, and I just genuinely couldn't follow along. I especially wanted to see the games and see the highlights and see my friends that were still playing, and I just couldn't do it. And that did not make any sense to me. It didn't match my experience and the momentum I had seen in the space, and so I launched Just Women's Sports.
Do you feel like you did anything differently going into the 2016 season?
I just let go.
Really?
I was like, let me just have some fun.
No way.
I think there's been sort of two issues with women's sports coverage today. On one side of it, there's just a complete lack of coverage. We have to work on just more, right? More accessibility, more coverage, more content. On the other side of it too, like that content needs to be authentic to what the space is. And I think it's problematic when the narrative around women's sports is basically boxed into these women are role models for young girls, or just very pink and glitter, because yes, they're role models for young girls, but like LeBron James is a role model for young boys, right? And that's not the only thing we talk about with that. Like these women are interesting and complex and competitors and fierce, and like we need to just cover the space for what it is and treat these athletes like athletes.
I am as skillful. I'm actually probably more skillful than all of those guys put together.
Because only 4% of sports coverage is dedicated to women's sports, it's just complete white space. So while we think it's important to be really focused, we've also felt like we haven't had the luxury to sort of be focused on a single channel. And so it's been important for us to go wide, to be on Instagram, be on Twitter, be on the audio medium, have our website, have newsletters, and we want to grow all those channels as we expand into more.
For the first time ever, we're seeing that women's sports are performing comparably, if not better, than men's sports. You know, just one example, the NWSL's Challenge Cup opening game had more viewership than Man City versus Chelsea in the English Premier League the same weekend. That's crazy. That's a huge amount of viewership, and that's really exciting. 1 million viewers watched the 2019 Women's College World Series, 1.1 watched the men's. That is very comparable. And so we're seeing big, big numbers around this space. People are interested and people are excited. And so for us, you know, we believe that everything you see on the men's sports side, you will see on the women's sports side, and we want to go build it. We want to build out a podcast network. We want to push on our digital channels. We want to build out more merchandise. We want to push on our community, build out premium content, and ultimately, we want the games. We want you to go to justwomensports.com and unlock this whole world of women's sports. And we believe that if you can grow this ecosystem and if you can grow the landscape around women's sports, all those opportunities that extend off of sports, you know, fantasy, betting, all the agencies, we can go build that on the women's side. And for us to get to that big, big vision, it all starts with consistent media coverage. And that's where we're at today. And so a little background on what the company's done to date. We launched in January 2020. Q1 and Q2 for us were really a soft launch. We were turning on our social channels, our website, our newsletter. building out our initial team and building out the initial Just Women Sports ecosystem. In Q3 of last year, we officially launched with the Just Women Sports podcast, hosted by U.S. Women's National Team defender Kelly O'Hara. And for anyone that hasn't checked it out, basically the premise is, every week she sits down with a different professional female athlete and tells their story and unpacks sort of their journey to get to the top of their sport. So we've had, Alex Morgan, Allison Felix, Chloe Kim, Neko Gumike. That episode is great for anyone who hasn't checked it out. Candace Parker. We're getting the best of the best. And to really just highlight sort of the appetite for this content, that podcast launched at #1 in sports and number 16 overall. Through our first 20 episodes, we passed 700,000 downloads. Heineken came on as our season 2 sponsor. So we've just seen a ton of positive momentum. And we are currently fundraising right now. We are raising $3 million. And really that raise is to do more. We want to push on our digital channels, our website, our newsletter, all our social channels, and we want to keep growing. We want to launch more podcasts with more athletes. We want to push into video, and we want to basically aggressively attack the opportunity around women's sports and be the media brand in the space. And it's been really central to us to team up with athletes and to work really closely with people in this space, both on the men's and women's side. So we think that teaming up with the NFLPA would be a huge advantage in actually building this platform that we think these women deserve.
Thanks, Haley. Now let's bring in the judges. Just a note that NECA is already an investor in Just Women's Sports, so she will not take part in this Q&A and cannot vote for them.
Thanks so much, Haley. That was awesome. Loved your pitch. Tell me, with the influx of people who've started to focus more in recent years on the coverage of women's sports and the podcasts and social media accounts, what do you think makes you all different from the rest of the people who are doing it?
Yeah, I think all of that is like really, really exciting and really, really encouraging and validating. There's just a ton of momentum in women's sports. I think for us, the focus exclusively on women's sports is really important here. We've seen a lot of platforms that are really built around men's sports, and that's totally fine, right? But I think there's the opportunity to do that on the women's side. And I think, the same way that there's dozens of platforms on the men's side, there'll probably be dozens on the women's side, right? And so we want to lead that charge. We want to work with other platforms that are, shaking it up and making a difference. And one of the big things that we think we bring to the table is brand. We work directly with the athletes. We want to work more with the athletes. We come from this space, and we believe that if we can just be really true to the ecosystem and what the culture is, that we'll do a really good job of, building the coverage around this space.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing your pitch. I'm the older brother of a set of twin sisters that ran track in college, and then I'm the father of a 3-year-old girl. Really refreshing to learn about this company. How do you plan to engage youth women's sports teams and leagues from the grassroots perspective?
Absolutely. That's like what I think is a huge opportunity here, right? Like, we're educating so much of the public right now around what's happening in women's sports, but I think we'll see this space absolutely blow up with this next generation, right? If they grow up not knowing the difference and they see the WNBA just as much as they see the NBA, or the NWSL as much as they see the MLS, like, that's the real change, right? So like, I'm really excited for your daughter to just grow up and have all the same opportunity, both on the field and in watching. Like, that's when I think it's just going to be awesome. So like, for us, the way we think about it is just per channel, right? And so like, we're on TikTok, like, I don't have my own personal TikTok, but it's important for us to be on TikTok. We think podcasts are really important. Video is really important. We just want to make sure we're on the right medium, so we're getting in front of the right audience.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Haley, this is Brian here. Great presentation as well. I love what Just Women's Sports is all about. Honestly, I have a 7-year-old, 3-year-old as well that's in sports heavy. And to be quite frank, I'm sick of men's sports. We get too much coverage. But my real question would be long term.
Yeah.
What's the long term plan? I would love to see, a women's own ESPN or things of that nature. So what's the long term plan with your company?
World domination. No, no. The long term plan is like, listen. the ecosystem around men's sports is huge and robust, and there's so many opportunities. Like, look at all the jerseys behind you, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we want to create on the women's side, right? Like, we would just want to absolutely blow it up. And I think what you just said, that's the opportunity to build the ESPN of women's sports. And it's only 4% today, and think how much women's sports is moving and shaking and changing it up and causing influence. Like, imagine if we got to 50%, right? Or imagine if we just raise that even more. Imagine the influence these athletes could have really on the world and our culture and our society today. Like, that's what we're pushing on. That's really what we're trying to do.
Thanks, Haley. Great answer. So I'm curious, I've obviously been on, I've seen Just Women's Sports platforms, and I've seen current players hosting podcasts or doing things like that. How much do you all plan on incorporating former players, or even having coaches maybe host things like coaches? Like, we see that now there are a lot of NFL women on NFL staff. So
Totally.
how do you plan to incorporate those women as well?
We would love to incorporate as many of those women as possible. If you ever want to host a podcast, please let me know. I think that's really, really critical to this space, right? Like, the women who are in it and they're moving and shaking and changing things up, that know the space, that speak the language, that know what's relevant and what's happening, we need to bring them into our ecosystem. We want them hosting content, hosting shows, hosting podcasts, being a part of what we're building, because we can't build something authentic without those people. So as much as we can include the people in the space, that's what we're trying to do 100%.
Thanks. Awesome.
Well, Haley, we loved your presentation. Again, I have two beautiful daughters, and this has just made me, brighten up my day when I hear about Just Women's Sports. So for me, I would love to offer my consultation to help grow, Just Women's Sports in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian. Thank you all. This was awesome.
Thank you very much. Well, Justin, back to you.
Our next company has developed a new technology for something I know a little bit about: football.
Hi, I'm Bhargav.
And I'm Igor. And we are both co-CEOs and co-founders of Monarch.
Monarch is a sports robotics company. We have developed the Seeker, which is the world's first robotic quarterback. The Seeker allows athletes to practice independently using a tag that they place on their hip. They can perform a number of routes, drills, and many other modes. In addition, we optimize practice efficiency by allowing us to place passes, punts, kicks directly on target consistently.
All the athlete has to do is select the number of balls they want.
Using our system, we actually allow receivers to train alone. We're getting so much validation from different players saying, this is something that I always wanted. I can't get enough reps. The quarterback is busy. The quarterback threw out his arm. We have all of these receivers hungry, asking for more reps that we're creating this product for.
At Monarch, our goal is to revitalize training in football. Right now, you have total inefficiency with the way that receivers train. You have one quarterback and you have 30+ receivers on the team. There's something there that just doesn't add up. You have people that aren't getting the reps that they need. At Monarch, we're striving to change that.
There's a deep emotional connection that our product kind of invokes in people. Going from first caution and intrigue to that overwhelming, giddy sensation when they move a joystick and target a spot or touch the touch screen and put it exactly where they want it to go. Having 30-year-olds revert to 10-year-olds is the coolest thing.
It's the exact same thing that continues to drive us. The fact that we bring our technology out there and we have people that just love using it.
People turn into children. Like, the smiles, the emotion when they see it go where it needs to go, that feeling is never lost on us.
We want to create a product that's truly impactful, and the way that we can gauge that is by having athletes, programs, teams using it, and using it all the time. Our goal is excellence through robotics. Once we've developed that and we have a pretty strong placement in football, what we'd like to do then would be expand into other sports.
Hi everyone, so now that you know what we do, we'd like to tell you how we got here and where we're going. We divide our timeline and trajectory into 3 phases. Phase 1 is development and establishing a product market fit.
And we worked for years developing our product as much as we possibly could. And when we released
released the Seeker at the beginning of 2020. We had 15 units in our initial batch cycle. These were all intended for NCAA programs, but very soon after delivering to our first 5 customers, COVID shut everything down.
This was actually an interesting opportunity because it let us engage directly with NFL athletes who were messaging us from home, unable to practice alone. And several of the athletes loved the product so much that they invested in our company, and they've been actively broadcasting their Seekers to their audiences.
Yeah, and this broadcasting has actually helped really bring awareness to our brand. It's helped diversify our customer base, and we actually sold out of our initial 15 units. We've added teams, players, we've added a training facility, even a high school athlete. The hardware and the software was initially paired and as a single purchase, and the goal wasn't profit. It really was about generating that feedback and polishing our product, making sure that we had a very vocal group of advocates who are our early adopters.
And that puts us at phase 2, which is scaling, and that's our goal for this year. The funds that we generated from our NFL cohort, we acquired inventory for our next batch of 30 units. Batch production is really important because it cuts down our costs and it cuts down lead time for our customers. We're also updating our business model to be not just a one-time purchase for everything, but a purchase for the hardware, and then the software and service would be a recurring subscription.
So our goals in this phase are really to continue to provide value to our customers by updating our features, developing based on their feedback. Additionally, really creating a sustainable business. So that means reaching economies of scale and cutting down our production and servicing costs.
This is important because that sets us up for phase 3, which is something that we're really excited about and something that's really important to us. The Seeker already allows athletes to train like never before, but phase 3 is about innovation. And we're planning on augmenting that interaction by creating a data analytics platform we call Monarch Connect.
One thing that's unique about Monarch is that we see the entire athlete interaction. So we know exactly what they're planning to do as well as what they actually end up doing. And because of this, we're able to actually layer on insights as to what their performance looked like, things that were never before possible.
And so we are also interested in expanding the reach of our existing tech, what you already see. And while this is in football, our IP actually covers us for other sports as well.
So for us, for our investors, our message is that it isn't just about investing in our IP or our team or our existing tech. It's really about bringing the future of training into the present and expediting our vision. We want partners who understand the urgency of our tech and want to empower the next generation of athletes. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Now let's start your Q&A with the judges.
Hey guys, thank you so much for your pitch. As you know or may not know, I am a wide receiver, just completed my 11th season, and there's no such thing as catching too many passes. In fact, during the off season, I'm always finding ways to find a quarterback or find a jugs machine. You always don't have one or the other. So it's nice to have this, have Monarch. I guess my question is, how do you plan to make your product accessible direct to consumers, if at all? Also, the cost of entry seems to be a potential barrier and might turn people away. Do you have any plans to offer financing kind of similar to the Peloton model?
Yeah, absolutely. It's entirely our intention to expand the reach of this tech as far as it can be. So to do that, yes, we are offering financing, and somewhere down the road, we can imagine when we do reach certain economies of scale, that we could kind of really, pass those savings along to our customers and really expand the reach, not only to NFL, but NCAA and then high school and beyond.
Yeah, and then one of the things that we're doing right away is we're trying to partner with training facilities to make our product more accessible to all sorts of athletes, while the barrier to entry is still a little bit high.
Okay.
Thanks, guys, for that pitch. Loved it. So with y'all's groundbreaking equipment, obviously, for football players, what kind of devices do you see yourselves making in the future for other sports, and what sport do you see yourself getting involved with next?
We've gotten a lot of interest from a number of sports, most particularly soccer. We get that, every couple of months we get a team that reaches out to us. So soccer is definitely on our radar, and then basketball as well as baseball. So those are probably the next 3. But as we kind of mentioned during our presentation, one of the unique things about our patents is that the wording that we use is sports projectile. So as opposed to using the word ball, so we can get into sports where, let's say hockey, where you're using a puck. So our tech is very extensible into a number of different sports.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Again, Another great presentation by you all. I thought it was awesome. Obviously, I have a story before with me reaching out, but this is a very specific question concerning the Monarch machine. You know, athletes, we love our time. The reload system, how does that work? How much time are you saving when you're, you know, some people just sometimes just get tired and just want to go grab the ball and throw it to each other and just keep it going from there. How does the reload system work, and is it really efficient when you're out there training and you only have 30 to an hour time?
Yeah, absolutely. So the athletes that use our system right now by themselves can get, you know, anywhere between 200 if you're feeling really lax to 400 balls an hour by themselves. So the reload system with 6 balls, you can kind of collect the balls at the end of a drill, just run over back to the machine, pop them back in. You know, we're not looking to replace people, but this is kind of like that additional thing that you have in you know, with everything else. So it's really kind of that alone piece of it. That's an option, but then if you are actually in practice and someone's reloading it, it's extremely fast.
Yeah, one of the particular things is some of our customers, they're noting between like 4 and 5 times as many reps as they would be getting otherwise. So it's definitely making practice a lot more efficient beyond just, you know, individuals being able to get 6 balls at a time.
Perfect. Game changer.
Well, thank you, Monarch. I appreciate the time. Your presentation was it was inspiring in a lot of ways. You know, when you see athletes kind of working hard and kind of providing that motivational component that really gets people fired up, I really appreciated that. I guess to culminate everything when it comes to both, you know, the subscription and then also the device itself. So I guess when I saw the presentation, it seems as though it's like, in my case, it's like the gun, like at the gym, but then not only do I have to own the device, but I also need a subscription to, I guess, maintain, as you said in the video, the updates, which I guess kind of now reaches into like the Peloton realm, you know. So I'm trying to understand exactly, you know, how would you market this to individuals who are trying to determine, you know, whether they want just the device or do you have to also have the subscription? You know, I'm just trying to understand it a little bit better, because when I'm in the gym, I don't need a subscription to use the gun. I just have the gun and I can use it. So I'm just wanting to know a little bit more about that model.
Yeah, and so we're actually putting that model together right now. But what we would be doing is differentiating based on different tiers. So let's say that you're an NFL team, you're going to have probably the highest tier with the most features available, the most updates. And what we're doing is we're bundling service into this as well. So it's a service plus the features as well. So for an individual, we anticipate that the pricing would be very low and more than likely even free, because we want individuals access to the most features possible.
Sure, absolutely. Sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We want individuals to evangelize the system. So if it is teams that are benefiting most from the efficiency aspect of it, that again, people can have all this and really, you know, increase that accessibility.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Monarch. Our next company has found new ways to link fans with athletes they love.
I'm Josh Bryant, co-founder and CEO of FanGauge, thefangauge.com. The concept of FanGauge was born at the Denver airport. My co-founder, Emmanuel Sanders, and I were at the Denver airport. A teenage kid came up to him, asked him to take a selfie. They took the selfie together, and then the teenager asked Emmanuel to sign it with his finger. And immediately, both of us thought it was super dope. The whole plane ride, we came up with a business plan of how we were going to sell digital autographs. When we launched the product, we thought fans were going to upload photos they took with him or of him. The opposite happened. Fans uploaded photos of dogs in Broncos sweaters, kids at their first games, kids in their first jerseys. And that's when we realized that the concept was a lot more robust than we originally thought.
This is awesome. Look at this picture. Young Reds fan in the making. I love it.
Fans were going to upload photos that meant a lot to them. And we were like, okay, we're not an autograph memorabilia company. We're autographing memories.
Oh my gosh, it's signed by Emmanuel Sanders.
There there are a lot of reasons celebrities choose not to go to these autograph appearances. We built a platform for the celebrities where you don't have to go anywhere. All you have to do is log in, sign the photo, click send, the next photo shows up. So in 10 minutes, you can make 150 of your fans really happy. As long as you have a smart device, you can reach out and touch your fans in a way that they're gonna get something that they're gonna be excited about.
Boom, that's one autograph right there. Boom.
Nice.
In a world that everyone's stuck in their houses, they're all remote, our platform is tailor-made for you. No matter where you are, you can upload a photo. No matter where you are, you can sign a photo. So we're able to bridge that gap between the fan and the celebrity, and we'll be able to do that no matter what world we're in. If we can bring joy to 1,500, 5,000, 10,000 households a day, that's success.
Now that you know how it works, let's answer the question in the front of your mind. What's the business model and can it scale? We are a B2B, B2C software company, and our #1 selling product is our white label upload sites. Professional sports teams like the New Orleans Saints, Green Bay Packers, Brooklyn Nets, and big brands like Barclays, Capital One, and Gatorade have turned to FanGage to execute virtual autograph events to replace existing activation. Everybody loves hockey stick curves. Well, we're experiencing that kind of revenue growth. 0 to 100 wasn't quick enough. We went 0 to 500,000 real quick. And this was accomplished with only one full-time sales rep. And that's where the majority of the funds won from this event will go. We need to expand our sales force to be able to handle existing clients and close new ones. And we've got some big goals for the next 18 months. And sending 1 million autograph photos all across the globe is just one of them. The more events we have, the more autographs we send. The more autographs we send, the more revenue we generate. When we started FanGage 5 years ago, we were told digital autographs weren't real, and we'd have a tough time disrupting the market. We're well on our way to do just that. We've sent over 50,000 autograph photos and have long-term partnerships with some of the most valuable brands in the world. We're making great strides, and we believe we have the core players on our team to completely disrupt the autograph market. In-person activations expose players to illnesses. Canceling those events equals lost revenue for those players. FanGage solves both. It keeps the players safe and it keeps the players paid. And we believe the NFLPA should join our mission and make it possible for all fans, regardless of their economic status, their physical capabilities, or location, to experience two-way communication with the celebrities they admire.
Thanks, Josh. Now let's bring in our judges for some questions.
Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate that presentation. That was really great. You know, one of my questions about FanGage is wondering if there's any systems to kind of ensure that athletes are not just signing any photo. You know, I do think that it's really great to have, you know, moments that people can truly remember. But I know as an athlete, you know, even when someone hands me a stack of all pictures of me, it can get a little bit ingenuous. And so I just wanted to know if there's like a filter system by which, even if there's an app or some sort, to ensure that athletes aren't just signing, you know, tons and tons of random photos.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's what it is. So the first place the photos go once they're uploaded is to our admin portal. And in that admin portal, you can approve photos, reject photos, edit the custom messages. And we built that, you know, for liability, you know, to make sure that no one's uploading anything lewd or malicious. But also it gives our brand partners and our professional teams the flexibility to kind of choose which photos they want to have the player sign. So if they want to do a campaign where they're only going to sign kids in jerseys or from away games. So it gives them a little flexibility to choose, these are the photos that are going to be signed for this particular event.
Thank you.
Hey Josh, I love what you all bring to the table. For me personally, I'm not a people person at all. I think this is awesome. But just moving forward, and I'm always thinking the big scheme of things. How can the everyday person acquire or use your business model? Let's say they're not looking for a particular athlete. Can the everyday Joe do certain things for relatives, family, businesses, things of that nature? Are y'all going to expand that route as well?
Yeah, we're there, man. And it's, I built a platform. I was obsessed with Kobe growing up, and I used to write Kobe Bryant so much fan mail. My mom used to keep the letters, man, and I never got anything back. And I wasn't fortunate enough to go to games. So, just for instance, this week, we launched a partnership with the NFL. So through the NFL One Pass app, anybody from anywhere, no matter if you're a novice or if you're a diehard collector, you can download their app, choose from a list of players. Panini built trading cards for those players, and then you can get that design signed, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. And that, that's why we built it. That's why we built this platform, to just level the playing field to where it's not just the economically, folks that can afford to go to the games and afford to go to the VIP experiences, that can have that that awesome feeling of meeting a celebrity, getting something signed from them.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Thanks, Josh. Enjoyed your pitch. I'm curious, how do you see yourself expanding to include non-athlete celebrities? Like, do you have intentions of having just movie stars, whatever, be a part of this platform as well in the future?
Absolutely. And, just this past year, we crossed over to anime. We've done anime conferences. We've done professional gamers. I think it's really important for our growth to cross over to music. Whenever the concerts do come back, we don't see VIP meet and greets coming back. So kind of what is that, live and virtual hybrid going to look like? And we think our product is tailor-made. If you just got off stage of a concert, you can hop on your tour bus. You can sign photos from VIP guests who were taking pictures at the concert, and while you're on the tour bus to the next city, you could be signing photos from your phone, from your tablet. As long as you have internet access, you can sign photos. And that's huge for us, growing, because our big goal is 1 million photos signed, and that international growth and crossing over to industries outside of sports is what's going to get us there for sure.
Thanks.
I mean, this is a really cool concept, especially with where we are now with the COVID-19 and, having to keep ourselves safe and our family safe. It's very obvious where this model would do very, very well now. I know I've had to pass down the face-to-face contact, but I've had a few of these type of opportunities, which is amazing right now. But I guess my question is, what's the plan? What's the growth forecast, after COVID? And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I would love to learn more about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Eventually things are going to get back to normal, and we have to have a plan for it. But our B2B sales are really strong, and we're the partners we're dealing with, a lot of the NFL teams, they've already given us the word, like, we're doing this again next year. And same thing with our brands, Gatorade, CarMax, Barclays. They've already told us that this is something that we want to continue, because not everybody can, our product opens it up to everybody. No matter where you are, you could participate in these activities. So even when the in-persons come back, brands and teams are going to still say, well, we have fans and customers all over the world. So we still want to provide something for them to say, hey, you're just as special as the people that live down the street. And that's what we provide. So we believe that we're going to outlive this pandemic, and we're going to get to that 1 million autographs sent, and we're going to get to there real fast. And when we do, we're just going to celebrate. But we think we're going to outlive this thing, man.
I love it, man. And I love the excitement, and thank you so much for your time and sharing it. We're definitely rooting for you. I'm going to go hand it back over to Justin.
We're getting closer to see which company will win the grand prize. Time to meet the final company in NFLPA Pitch Day presented by Panini.
My name is Julie Roberts, and I'm co-founder CEO of Armored Things. Armored Things is software that predicts human behavior. We call it crowd intelligence, and we're using this data to keep people safe in large venues. Our crowd intelligence works by pulling together data that already exists in our customers' venues, but has never been combined before. So we'll pull together data from cameras, from Wi-Fi, from any other sensors that exist, and combine it with things like ticketing, concessions, scheduling. All of this helps us better understand how people are behaving in the space and predict what might happen in the future. Armored Things is visible mainly to the folks who run security and operations of the venue every day. So when we hand them our dashboard or our mobile app, they can instantly see at a 35,000-foot view level all the way down to very specific zones how many people are in certain areas in real time, but also looking back historically. They can use that data to start to understand patterns of ingress and egress, where they're seeing bottlenecks, how they might want to staff their venue differently, and also an ability to go back after the fact and analyze what happened over the course of an event. During COVID, we reimagined some of the use cases of this data. So for example, now, if you're standing in a concourse and you say, I never want this concourse to have more than 100 people, we can alert you when it's at 80 or 90 so that you're proactively communicating or staffing that space. We don't want you to have to tell your fans, sorry, 30 people have to leave. That doesn't optimize the fan experience. Armored Things has the power to help design the venue of the future, the smart city of the future, by building around how people actually want to use their spaces. Armored Things sits at the intersection of sports and technology. And I think if there's one thing that the world today has taught us, it's that continuous innovation is key to continuous success. Our software keeps players and fans safe, which matters now more than ever. Armored Things recently deployed at the US Open with our partners at PMY Group. For the first time in over 100 years, this event was held without any spectators. But over 300 players and thousands of staff were there to make that event happen, and our data helped keep them safe. Displaying our data around Flushing Meadows on smart signage helped players and staff avoid crowded areas, decide where to spend their time, and minimize their risk of COVID exposure. I believe that the NFLPA can help us spread the word beyond sporting and entertainment. For example, there's over 20 million students in colleges around the country today. We think that they'd be perfect candidates for our software to help them reopen safely, and we've already proven it at major universities like the University of Tennessee. We want to help them reopen so they can continue their mission to educate the next generation. It doesn't hurt that students and staff look up to players and the NFL as ambassadors, especially when they're also alumni of the schools. Last summer, Armored Things launched our Reopen with Confidence campaign, and we brought on our biggest pro sports customers to date, such as LAFC, the US Open, and the Cleveland Cavaliers to help them reopen with confidence. Now everyone needs our software. Reopening is critical. Our software is proven, we are trusted partners, and we're ready to scale. I'm currently talking to investors around the country to raise money for our Series A. If Armored Things wins today, it will help us continue our mission to get our software into every venue around the country. You'd be continuing to invest in data for the greater good. Ultimately, we want every fan, every player to go back to their venues with confidence, knowing that Armored Things is helping keep them safe.
Thanks, Julie. And now let's bring in our judges to ask you some questions.
Hey, Julie, we loved your presentation. You're hitting the COVID-19 right in full storm. So my question would be, Long term, I'm always thinking more business oriented questions. So long term, you know, I know stadiums, I know owners, I know clubs, they don't want to be, you know, sectioned off, you know, for the remainder of their entire existence. So what are you thinking long term, and when Corona finally, you know, settles and gets under control? How do you plan on attacking it? And do you guys even have a plan moving forward?
Yeah, so we actually started the company way before coronavirus was even a thing. So we were already working with a couple of name brand venues, thinking about things like space utilization and optimization, as well as core security. Very different from COVID security, which is about social distancing and keeping the players safe and the fans safe. We were talking more about bottlenecks, hotspots in your venue, areas that might be concerning. And we really can continue to do that. COVID's just become another piece of the puzzle. I think it's really fun also that, I shouldn't say fun in the context of COVID, but what's been really interesting recently is that we're still coming into the experience side of things. So, you know, we did a deployment during COVID at the US Open with our partners from PMY. And not only could that help players make choices to keep themselves safe, but as fans return, that means you can choose areas of the venue that are less crowded, go to the shorter, you know, hot dog line or beer line, and that ends up impacting your experience way beyond COVID safety.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks, Julie. Love your pitch. I'm curious, how do you all plan to combat, if you're able to at all, people using your technology to do harm? I guess like hacking your system, and obviously your technology is so expansive and it's very in depth, and y'all are going from looking overhead and all the way down into, so how can you combat, you know, people using this with malicious intent?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things. We build with cybersecurity in mind. So my co-founder, who's our CTO, is actually from a cybersecurity background. So is about 60% of our tech team who's built this technology. We don't identify any individuals. So when we're collecting all this data, the very first thing that we do is actually anonymize it so that it's not telling us anything about the individuals. It's showing us patterns, trends, and potential threats in the venue. So, you know, obviously you want to make the perfect secure system that no one's ever going to get into. But in the world that we live in, we have to be very conscious of building for that, but being very careful about protecting the data we have. And that starts with keeping that private data secure. And in the environment of our customers, we don't necessarily need all of that data ourselves.
Thank you.
Good, good. Yeah, thank you so much for your pitch. I really enjoyed it, and how sophisticated it is. I like it. But playing in New York in a large market, crowd control is always a priority for our club. Can you highlight how your technology can possibly scale to address the player movement in the team's facility, like on non-game days?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So, you know, our technology and technology in general has the benefit of being on site 24/7, even when you don't have staff at the levels you would have on a game or event day. So again, you know, we can anonymously see who's in certain areas of your venue at a very high 35,000 foot view level down to certain concourses and behind the scenes areas. That could impact player safety. That could impact player experience. You know, when do you want to go to the locker room? When are you able to optimize your time on site if you don't want to be on site when there's lots of people around? So I think we constantly have our eye on 24/7. And again, that can also help us alert a venue to when there's people there at certain times of day who shouldn't be there, or at least give them an alert to investigate further, right? Most of the time it's going to be benign. They're going to be able to pull things up and make sure that activity is okay. But in the event that it's not, we can be their early warning system.
Wow.
Final question. Julie, I think this is incredibly interesting because I understand that in the world of technology now, AI and also location services is a business that a lot of people don't realize is so incredibly lucrative. And so this is interesting, especially because, you know, as athletes, we're always used to being in crowded arenas, and security and privacy are, of course, most important. I guess I'm wondering, and I might be stepping outside of the box here, are there any, I guess, ideas around even incorporating the geolocation for security into branding and branding, merchandising, and consumerism? You know, I think in your presentation, you mentioned knowing when there's a lot of people in a certain place, but then is there also opportunity for these arenas to see why certain people are in certain places and how that works for them to be able to build their profits and their revenue?
Yeah, so you're hitting a great theme, which is ultimately we are a data analytics platform that understands and then predicts movements of people, right? The messiest thing in the world is people. The most unpredictable thing in the world is people. Not only can we use that to try and keep you all safe and keep the fans safe and make people want to come back to venues, but also how do we use that to enhance the experience? You know, I think there's a lot of interest in potentially optimizing, you know, retail experiences, concession experiencing, you know, being able to push people coupons or other promotions. We don't necessarily need to build every application. What we're giving is that core understanding of people, and then we're allowing the venues really to run with it and get as much value as possible out of it because it's ultimately their data, right? You know, they're the ones who have the venue. We want them to use it to the best of their advantage and have people have an even better experience.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Your presentation was great. And I look forward to seeing where it goes. I think I'm going to kick it back to Justin now. Thank you, Julie and Armored Things.
We've met 6 amazing companies and incredible founders. Now it's time for our judges to get to work and pick a winner. Let's listen in to their deliberations.
I would have to say like Round 21 edged everyone else out. And this is me speaking also because I didn't do just women's sports. So you guys also did just women's sports. But Round 21 kind of edged everyone out just because I feel like it had a cultural connection and it can really partner with programs in a lot of ways, with leagues in a lot of ways. And I really appreciate, actually, what I wanted to talk to them about on the one-on-one consultation that I didn't actually get to ask today was how they were going to engage artists from multicultural backgrounds, because that's something that I thought that really drew me in. They're not just saying, oh, you know, make your art and you can submit it. There's meaning behind the people that are actually providing the art, which I think broadens the scope of who is actually impacted by Round 21. It's sports, culture, society, but then also artists, which from my impression seemed like it was from multicultural backgrounds, which I think is something that is incredibly needed right now. Yeah, and I feel like that intersectionality is like really, it's pinging right now.
My favorite, honestly, and I mean, you can see by my answer, was just women's sports. I think it's pretty cool concept. I think we have not devoured into, you know, women's sports more than we should. I think men is definitely overpowered. And it honestly, it didn't take until I had girls to understand that, you know, and that's just me being completely honest. So I would love for that company to thrive, and I would love to see women anchors on their own stations and, you know, everything about women's sports. So where my daughters can have a place of comfort as well. So that's something I'm a big advocate about. That was one of my favorites personally. So.
Yeah, they were my third. Once Round 21, that video ended, I did feel like they're a company that, like, their relevance will not disappear. Like, art is gonna always be a part of people's lives. And even more so during COVID, we've seen how people realize the importance of artistic expression. Like, when people probably didn't realize so much that, like, we needed theaters to be open, that we needed a lot of methods to be entertained and express ourselves, and how that contributes to people's sanity and mental health.
Yeah, I really liked Round 21. I thought Jasmine did a great job at answering all the questions in your pitch. But what I really liked about it is like kind of what you're saying, you're bringing artists, but also, in my point, ping pong players together. Like, I feel like ping pong is a very popular sport, a great sport for camaraderie. But I feel like it's outdated a little bit. Like, you just have the white or the yellow balls, or you have the wooden, you know, paddles or the sandpaper paddles, and it's just black or red. To do the individual artwork that has meaning or quotes or whatever, motivational, whatever it is, I thought that was really, really cool. And I thought that's a space where they can really blow up, and you can reach a lot of people. So that's why I really like them.
You know, you said between Round 21 and Nature Aid, you know, those were your top two. And so I guess I wanted to know more about like why you picked Nature Aid. To be honest, like they were kind of my top. It was between those two and Monarch. But for me, I felt as though Round 21 had a more robust business plan than Nature Aid did. That's kind of what drew me to Round 21. But I want to know like why they're kind of like the top for you, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I offer them my consultation, but I do agree with what you're saying about them compared to Round 21. But I think also over COVID, people started to realize the importance of our health. And people started exercising more. People were outside because it was such a freeing experience to finally get to step outside. But once you were stuck inside, you realize, okay, well, I can watch YouTube videos and do exercises, or I can do things in home. A lot of people got rid of memberships, but yeah, that was just from my perspective because I think about illness and stuff. That's why it resonated with me more. Okay, we need the winner. They say.
Before we reveal the winner of NFLPA Pitch Day, we have one more entrepreneur to recognize. And with more, let's bring back Magic Johnson.
Thanks, Justin. I'm always on the lookout for the next generation of business leaders and believe it's so important to recognize up-and-coming talent. We work with Cowboys linebacker Jalen Smith and his incredible organization, the Minority Entrepreneurship Institute, to identify a young, talented business person for this year's Young Entrepreneur Award. With more, here's Cowboys linebacker Jalen Smith to share our winner.
Thanks, Magic. I'm here with Young Entrepreneur Award winner, Simple. I'm here with Kunal, and please, thanks for being on, and let us know a little bit about your company.
Thanks, Jalen. So Simple is an AI physical therapist and personal trainer that helps people with their exercise form. It gives them real-time feedback as they perform exercises to try to prevent athletes from getting injured.
Congratulations. What does it mean to win this award?
It's a huge deal to myself and the team. Our team's been jumping up and down since we've heard the news, and we put a couple of years into this project. It's been about three and a half years, coming on 4 years working on this. So it's just been an incredible journey, and this award means a lot to us.
It takes a lot, when you're in the business entrepreneurship world. You're always living and learning from experiences and from different mentors. Tell us about your journey as an entrepreneur.
We put together a team of students from all over the country, from schools from top universities like Columbia, all the way from across the country to California, to USC, to Alabama, to just students from throughout my childhood, and just friends who also had injuries at some point in their lives. So we just kind of all put our heads together, about 25 students of us, and we built this app. We're in 17 countries now, and just taking it day by day, trying to really just help people prevent injury. So
that is amazing. It's crazy how just fitness and health and wellness, it matters, and in any community you're living in. It's something that needs to continue to be stressed in its importance. Please, before we get off the phone, would love to, if you could just let us know a little bit more about Simple and what does the future hold?
Yeah, so the way Simple works is, you put your phone on the ground or against a water bottle, you stand in front of it, and it draws a stick figure on your body. And when you do an exercise, so let's say you're doing a shoulder press, if your wrists are starting to come in, it'll tell you to keep your wrists above your elbow, and it'll talk to you in real time. The future for Simple, in the short term, we're planning to, try to run some studies and prove the efficacy of our app and show how it can really help athletes in the short term and in the long term. And then eventually, our dream for this is to try to help, every person everywhere prevent, injuries, help them with their back pain, and really just trying to, democratize all this health information so that people have access to the best training.
That's incredible, man. Thanks for taking time, Kunal. It means a lot.
Thank you, Jalen. Thank you all. And thank you to the NFL Players Association and the Minority Entrepreneurship Institute. We're really grateful to be here. So thank you all.
Thanks to you both. Congratulations to Kunal, who will receive a $5,000 grant from the NFLPA, along with Microsoft Special Services and a Microsoft Surface Pro. The judges have made their decision, and now it's time to reveal the winner of NFLPA Pitch Day presented by Panini. The moment we've all been waiting for. Here's the president of the NFL Players Inc., Steve Skeblo.
Thanks, Justin. And thanks to the 6 impressive companies that made their presentations here today. We are thrilled that you had the opportunity to participate in NFLPA Pitch Day and congratulate you all on your efforts that have led up to today's successful showcase. We are sure there are going to be many opportunities awaiting each of you as your companies continue to grow. For the winner of today's Pitch Day, you will receive $25,000 in player marketing from the NFLPA that can be used for player activations and endorsements. An additional $25,000 in services from One Team Partners. Consultation services from Allied, a full-service integrated global marketing agency. And thanks to our partners at Microsoft, along with their Surface Pro, the winner will also receive a 1-year complimentary Office 365 E3 license. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Following thoughtful deliberation by our judges, we are happy to announce the winner of NFLPA Pitch Day 2021 is round 21. Jasmine, congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
Wow, I am overjoyed and blown away by this opportunity. I would say having the support of the NFLPA and everything that the players represent for a brand that wants to give a voice to athletes everywhere feels incredibly impactful. And kudos to all of the other participants today, because I had my money on, I won't say it, but there were some incredible companies and people behind what we saw today. And I'm absolutely thrilled.
Absolutely agree. And congratulations again, just great job. And we look forward to continuing to work with you on your journey. And thank you again to all the founders who joined us here today. You all represented yourselves extremely well and should be proud of the businesses that you're building. Now, Magic, back to you.
Thank you for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Through NFLPA Pitch Day, powered by Panini, we hope to continue to shine a light on minority and women-led businesses who are ready to grow their companies. Now it's time to turn it back over to Steve.
Thanks, Magic. It is now my honor to wrap up Pitch Day 2021. But before we go, there are a lot of people to thank for making today such a success. We've all been enlightened, hearing from an accomplished group of athletes with their own business acumen. And from Irvin Johnson, who has made our industry stronger and better and the world more inclusive. And from Dee Smith, who has committed the NFLPA and its partners to push for diversity and inclusion in everything we do as an organization. Thanks to members of our NFL Players Inc. Advisory Committee, a group of former and active players that lend their expertise and counsel to the licensing and marketing arm of the NFLPA for sharing your insights. Thank you to Jalen Smith and the indelible work he is doing with his Minority Entrepreneurship Institute, through which we honored Kunal Gandhi as the young entrepreneur to watch for. And a virtual embrace of our Pitch Day partners, including Panini, the NFLPA's exclusive trading card partner of many years. We are proud to have them sponsor this important initiative to bring diversity and inclusion to business and investment. Our gifting partner, Microsoft, for providing all the pitch companies and our young entrepreneur with Surface Pros, and our winner with complimentary services. And to our partners, colleagues, and friends at One Team Partners, Allied, and Eureka. NFL Players Inc. has made it a priority to provide minority and women-led businesses a platform to elevate their businesses through the NFLPA Pitch Day and other opportunities in the months and years to come. Thank you all again for joining us for NFLPA Pitch Day 2021. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you soon.